Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser has reassured players looking for a new Mario game on Switch 2 that it'll be coming. Many players were expecting to see a new 3D Mario game during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct earlier this month, given that the last entry, Super Mario Odyssey, was released 8 years ago. Instead, Nintendo revealed Donkey Kong Bonanza, a 3D platformer starring Donkey Kong, which appears to use an engine similar to that of Super Mario Odyssey, even if its development team remains a mystery. It's the Mario team that's working on that. In an interview with CNN, Bowser was asked about the lack of a main 3D or 2D Mario game confirmed for the Switch 2, but Bowser suggested, again, that's Doug Bowser, not Bowser the villain, suggested that fans simply need to hold fire because one will eventually be on the way. Stay tuned, he replied. You know, we have a long catalog and a long list of properties that I'm sure will make its way to the platform. So not really him saying anything else other than, of course, we're going to make a new Mario. But, stay tuned does feel suggestive. It does feel like maybe a Mario game will come sooner than we think based on, hey, the Mario team's making this Donkey Kong game. Emma, I go back to, I think it was early last year, like January of 2024, I think, where Nintendo started talking about their desire to work with more external partners, more indie teams, but also just more like the way that they work with like Namco or whatever. They said they want to do that more so they can make software more frequently and bigger and better and all this stuff. So what are the chances, you think, that this Donkey Kong Bonanza game is in fact made by the 3D Mario team, but maybe it's made in conjunction with another studio and then Nintendo's doing a similar thing so it can spread that team out and make a Donkey Kong Bonanza here and then a new 3D Mario sort of in parallel by like spreading out and working with more teams? You think that's a thing?
It seems very unlikely that they would let anybody work on Mario that isn't the core Mario team.
Right, maybe it's more likely Donkey Kong could get that.
Correct,
treatment.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I think that you are correct that there was probably involvement from the 3D Mario team for sure on the Donkey Kong game. I mean, Donkey Kong looks like the secret sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. However, I do think that, again, because they had that established formula that you can bring in people to work under the oversight of some core team members from the Mario team while the rest of them are able to, continue to focus on what they make, which is Mario games. So I do think that it would be extremely weird if we didn't get a new Mario first-party proprietary mainline title on Nintendo's new console in the semi-immediate future.
Yeah, I think so. Like looking back at Bowser's Fury, which is the real last 3D Mario game, as much as it's a weird release and it's a half release and it's something smaller, you can only get it with another remastered game. It was made by Entertainment Planning and Development Department of Fyffe, I think is the Mario team, and they did work with a support studio that I'm sure was helping them with the technology, and it was Nintendo Software Technology and 1UP Studio for the support studios on Bowser's Fury. So maybe that relationship budded and bloomed, and those teams are taking not the lead but a bulk of the development for Donkey Kong Bonanza because they had this close relationship, and that freed up the core EPD5 team to go in the direction of, and let's get to work on Mario. And that's not even to point out, this Donkey Kong Bonanza game could have been development for a very long time. It could have been done for quite some time. I'm guessing, but I get the sense that this is something they maybe were thinking about pairing originally with the Nintendo Switch Pro several years ago. And, of course, then it would have still came out to the Nintendo Switch. But it seemed like that kind of game. And they're like, actually, you know what? Let's hold off. Let's make this the launch game for the Switch 2. And by doing that, we have something ready to go. And we can get to work on the next 3D Mario game and have that ready for, let's say, 2026 or something like that. It all feels pretty plausible. They know the value of Mario is as high as it's ever been. Coming off that movie, coming off of Super Nintendo World, and them building more Super Nintendo Worlds everywhere, and just being like, hey, we want to have merch and movies and games that capitalize on people's love of Mario. They're not going to go several more years without a big game
Mario,
release on the Switch too.
No, they're not. Yeah. There's certainly a 3D Mario that is more done than not for the Switch 2. There has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, the next Mario movie is next April, according to chat. I couldn't remember if it was 2026 or 2027, but 2026 sounds right. So yeah, I given those circumstances, that circumstantial evidence, Emma, I think we can work backwards a little bit of like, okay, how does it make sense for them to get a Mario game out next year? Mario Wonder from the 2D team, kind of maybe too fresh, although not going to be surprised at all when Nintendo Super Mario Brothers Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 edition gets released, early next year or whatever. But then a real new 3D Mario game ready to go in time for the movie. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, that seems very plausible.